Hi everyone, I'm Darren McAlear. I'm one of the senior leaders at Varan. Very quick background is I've spent a lot of my time working on finance transformations throughout the industry. And we're here today to see if we can give you some advice on how to best get started before you embark on your finance transformation journey. So before we get into that, Jackie, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
I will. I'm a massive women's football fan. I'm an Arsenal season ticket holder. Very proud of the win at the weekend. I'm also really into live music. I will say my favourite current band at the moment is a band called Baby Seals. But more importantly, I've been working in finance for too many years, probably. I'm not going to give it away, but feel free to have a look at my LinkedIn profile. And most recently, the last 5 years or so, working on finance and procurement transformation, which we're obviously here today to talk about, Darren.
We are. Well, that's interesting. And we'll talk about the baby seals maybe after this podcast. So the first question I'm going to ask is, what advice can you give to organisations before they embark on their finance transformation journey?
Well, there's obviously lots to think about, and some of it is obvious. What are your high-level requirements? What's your program team going to look like? Who's going to support the system integrator when you bring them in? What system do you want? And that's really the obvious things that people think about. But one of the things that I think people can start looking at is much broader. They can get prepared for going live with a new system before design by looking at their current positions, look at their data. Is it fit for purpose? Look at their chart of accounts. Do they need to think about their operating model? How do they do things today? What are their pain points? What do they need to think about and what do they want to improve? And that then ties into what's their strategy? What's their long-term vision for their finance and procurement systems? So many senior leaders are really saying, we want AI, we want AI. They're thinking about AI. But you can't really utilise AI to good value until you've got the good underlying data. So that's one of the areas they really do need to think about.
I mean, wow, no wonder people are overwhelmed before they embark on that journey. But one of the areas I wanted just to focus in on there is the data side. You mentioned data. I mean, what can organisations do to be better prepared with regards to data?
Well, one of the big activities you'll do as part of your implementation is really look at data migration. So before you even do data migration, you really do want to look at your current data and cleanse it. If it has gaps, fill them. So make sure that VAT records are up to date for suppliers. Have a look at any missing information like phone numbers or email addresses that you might need in a new system that you don't currently need because you're relying on business users. But in future, you'll be using the system for activities. The other thing to look at is very much about how your data talks to each other. If you're coming from disparate systems, so for example, your HR system is separate to your finance system, you might need to do a reconciliation between the two data sets to make sure they're aligned. Because when you move into a SaaS system or a overall accounting system, your data needs to talk to each other. So if it's not aligned, you're going to have error messages. Things are going to fall over. You're going to have duplicate records. A current client I work with has quite a few systems. And one of the things they had to look at was standardising that. And we did a very big HR to GL reconciliation to make sure that the data agreed with unique IDs and descriptions, and they agreed between the two systems. So when we migrate, we have no issues. And it also meant filling things like cost center manager information, which wasn't particularly important in the HR system, but is very important when you're talking about delegations of authority, ensuring your procurement goes okay, that people get their expenses paid, etc. And that takes me back to another point. When you go to SaaS, you're going to have your data collaborating with each other. So to do that, you need to align it. So you might need to think about account codes. Do they align with your purchasing categories? Do you need to revisit that before you think about moving it into design? As part of that, how are you going to do projects in future? Are you going to have a project module? If that's the case, how are you going to ensure that your information is correct for that? Do you even know what a project is in your organisation? Have you defined it so you know how to set that up? So I think data. You're going to do a number of data migration cycles. So not only do you want to clean your data, You want to keep it clean. So encourage ownership in your organisation of your data so that actually once you cleaned it, you only have to do it once, and any future data objects that are created are complete, accurate, and consider the reconciliations between the systems. I could talk about this for hours
I
because
know.
data migration is such a big issue when you're going live.
So to dive in a little bit to the Chart of Accounts, is this an opportunity to change things, to rethink or reimagine in a different way?
Absolutely. So one of the things I've talked very much about cleaning data, but when you come to looking at your chart of account, it's very much making sure that you're capturing data in the right way. Someone once said to me, when you're thinking about your chart of accounts, keep it as simple as you can, but as complex as you require. So you want it to be good for a user journey. So when you're looking at your chart of accounts, does it give you the reporting requirements you need? Not just your statutory requirements, but your business requirements. Are you getting everything you need? If you've got loads of spreadsheets with complicated formulas pulling in data, this is a good chance to look at your chart of accounts and redefine it, redesign it, so it gives you what you want. Look at those segments. Make sure each segment has a specific reason for being there and a singular purpose. You don't want to make it complex where different segments have to talk to each other to get your information. That causes big issues when you're maintaining your data in the system. So I think chart of accounts is key. And future-proof. Don't forget those extra segments you might need because your business will grow or change as well.
Yeah.
And there's still that decision about projects again. If you're going live with projects, are you going to have a project segment? Or are you just going to keep projects on the module? And think about that requirement as well, because that can create maintenance overhead.
Yeah, I love that saying about keeping it as simple as you can, but as complex as you may well need. And we should certainly trademark that if it's not been done already. But what about people? How are the people going to impact or be impacted when we're going through this transformation?
Well, processes are likely to change when you implement a new system, and you want to bring your people along on that journey because their skill sets is likely to change, and there'll be opportunities for them as well. So you might be looking at your operating model and going, at the moment, one team does something, but in future, I want another team to do it because I have to consider segregation of duty impacts in the system. So it's a great chance to look at your operating model, see if you've got the skill set you require, not just in finance and procurement, but also in your IT teams as well. They're going to be the ones that are maintaining the system, maintaining the master data for you. So they'll need to understand that cross-functional activity between data, but also they'll need to be ready for updates. A lot of SaaS systems will have quarterly updates, some will have monthly updates, and be ready for implementing that. So they'll need to be upskilled so that they can work with the right stakeholders to make the decisions about what you implement and when from the updates, if they're not mandatory. But also they'll need to start thinking about how they can quickly test the data after it's been changed and ensure it's ready to go live in production. So there's a big activity there. Also, if you go to SaaS, reporting is key. We've talked about reporting earlier, but you might want to start to have a team that will build reports for you. And once you're building reports, it impacts your hierarchies. So actually you might start thinking about additional hierarchies you need. So there's very much a need there to think about that skill basis in your team, across your teams as well. And I can't stop to say, and the opportunities. Jobs are going to get more interesting you bring in SaaS because of that collaboration activity, and teams can't silo work anymore. You want your HR teams working with your finance teams, working with your procurement teams, because that data that they're using is all the same. And you want them to understand the impacts when you change data on different teams, but also what their requirements are and your requirements are. So when you do anything in this system, you're still thinking about them as well.
Yeah.
I talk about a master data review team. I love this. So you actually have a lower level collaboration team as well as your continuous improvement group who might look at changes and say, do we want to put them in and who will it benefit and what's our priority on that before it goes to the big leaders to make those decisions.
Yeah, I think that's vital, especially with regards to reporting. There's so many companies that have far too many reports and they just get not used. So, you need to focus in on that in the early days. I feel we've covered a lot in the last sort of 10 minutes or so, but is there anything we've missed? Is there anything else that people should be aware of before they embark on this journey?
Well, we're only scratching the surface is what I'd say to people. So the first thing I'd say is very much do look at your current data, processes, documentation. Are your policies fit for purpose? And think about what you want to change. If you haven't listed your lower level requirements, do consider those. You don't want to just have a new system do the same as your old system. Think about what your future requirements are so you get those scripted. So if you are going out to any technology companies, you know what you want from your future system, and you can interrogate whether that future system can give you that information. Every organisation will start from a different starting point as well. And because of that, they'll have to consider different things. This is where they might want to talk to someone like ourselves, or they may want to do it themselves, but really do think about, where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's your current maturity? What do you think you can achieve realistically when putting in the system? But the big thing is, don't treat this as a one-off. Putting in a SaaS or accounting system is just the start of a journey. Make sure you have a continuous improvement budget, because you're going to see things you want to change or improve as you go along that design journey, that implementation journey. So make sure you're ready for future change to make that system the best system it can be for your organisation, your people, your processes.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jack. I love your enthusiasm for this subject matter, and your experience is shining through. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Darren. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you and talk to you today, and hopefully I'll see you more often.
You will. Thank you.